That information came direct from Meghan's ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, via an intermediary. And obviously Trevor Engelson is a very successful TV producer. He now has his own family. He's very happy. He hasn't spoken on the record.
Meghan may have risen to global fame through a mix of charm, talent, and well-timed opportunity, but what Trevor's revelations point to is something far less flattering: a pattern of manipulation, constant reinvention, and emotional abandonment. And with more voices likely to come forward and public patience running out, the Duchess of Sussex may soon discover that the truth she tried to bury is the very thing that destroys it all. If you've been following Meghan's journey and always felt like something didn't quite add up, you're not alone. Trevor Engelson's truth, it's just the beginning. For years we were sold a story: the empowered Duchess, the silenced victim, the misunderstood outsider. But now we're hearing from someone who saw it all before the crown, before the cameras, before the curated chaos. So ask yourself, how many more truths are buried? How many people have been silenced, discarded, erased? Trevor finally spoke. Who's next? Subscribe for the full breakdowns, unreleased testimonies, and the fallout that's coming, because this isn't just royal drama. It's a reckoning. And the truth finally has a voice. And it's not Meghan's.
A moment where Meghan Kelly reveals that Meghan Markle married for money, that she planned it all from the beginning, and the vision board with Prince Harry on it was revealed to her by someone who knew Trevor Engelson.
Meghan Markle reportedly exploded the instant she laid eyes on the headlines from Trevor's shocking interview. According to eyewitnesses, she barged into a private strategy meeting, slammed the door behind her with force, and immediately unleashed a fiery tirade on her media and publicity team. Furious that they had reassured her Trevor was under control, one staff member claimed Meghan screamed he was supposed to stay quiet forever. How did this even make it out? The atmosphere in the room became so tense and volatile that several team members quietly slipped away, not daring to speak or challenge her. This wasn't mere damage control. It was pure personal devastation for Meghan. The leak wasn't just a breach of trust. It felt like her entire public narrative had been cracked wide open. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a full-on reveal of the truth she'd worked tirelessly to bury. And by early afternoon, Meghan had already launched her counterattack. Numerous news organizations started receiving official cease and desist letters, indicating that her legal team had swiftly mobilized and taken an aggressive stance to shut down the story before it could gain further traction.
Narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim. My castle is too small. Yeah. The queen is mean to me. They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm going to put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends, while she never stops whining. And at the same time, I'm getting all worked up. I'm a founder.
Issuing stern warnings to media outlets, Meghan reportedly instructed her legal team to prevent any further publication of Trevor's revelations. She allegedly demanded that her attorneys draft a formal gag order, despite the legal fact that Trevor was never bound by a non-disclosure agreement when their divorce was finalized. According to experts familiar with high-profile legal disputes, that move alone says more than words ever could. If Trevor's statements were false, Meghan could have simply refuted them publicly. But instead, she's gone into overdrive grip by fear over what more he might be willing to share. Her obsession with controlling her public image has never been subtle, and this interview hit her at the core of that image. It pierced right through the carefully constructed persona she spent years presenting to the world. The damage wasn't just reputational, it was deeply personal. And true to her well-known playbook, Meghan reportedly isn't just angry, she's painting herself as the victim once again. But this time, it's not just Trevor she blames. According to individuals close to the situation, Meghan is now convinced that this entire leak was orchestrated from a higher level. She believes Buckingham Palace is pulling the strings behind the scenes, adding another layer of betrayal to what she sees as an ongoing campaign to destroy her.
Important. She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a, quote, princess.
Well, you can...
It was planned from the beginning. She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
Before they met?
Yes. And she wants to
That's
pretend.
impressive. You got to admit that is impressive.
She nailed it, yes.
Insiders close to the Duchess claim Meghan has privately confided to those in her inner circle that she's convinced Trevor's interview didn't happen by chance. She reportedly believes the timing was far too convenient to be coincidental and suspects that royal operatives deliberately coordinated the release to sabotage her image, specifically targeting her just ahead of a major upcoming public initiative. According to these sources, Meghan is fixated on the belief that the royal family is still actively working to dismantle everything she's built. One longtime friend revealed that Meghan doesn't view Trevor's decision to speak out as an isolated act. In her mind, it's not personal. It's part of a broader, calculated effort to undermine her. She sees it as one more move in a long-running chess game, being played by powerful forces aligned against her. But not everyone is buying that explanation. Critics argue this is just another example of Meghan reverting to a familiar strategy, casting herself as the eternal victim. They say the real issue isn't some coordinated royal plot, but rather Meghan's own unresolved history finally catching up to her. Her past, they claim, is resurfacing, and this time, no amount of spin may be enough to keep it buried.
That Meghan Markle did plan this, but what is new in terms of Megyn Kelly's revelation is that it is Trevor Engelson, via an intermediary, who has revealed this story, this existence of the mood board featuring Prince Harry. And let's just remember for a moment, Megyn Kelly is one of the world's greatest independent journalists.
In a move that has stunned both fans and critics alike, Meghan has abruptly withdrawn from several high-profile public appearances. These include a prestigious women's business summit in Los Angeles and a widely anticipated charity Q, and an event scheduled to take place in New York City. According to public relations insiders, Meghan is currently deemed too emotionally fragile to handle a live audience. And the reason behind this sudden pullback? She's well aware that the very first question she'll face will center around Trevor, and she reportedly has no prepared response. Rather than confront the controversy head-on, Meghan has opted for retreat, and that decision is only fueling the fire. Her absence has intensified public scrutiny, leading to an even faster decline in how she's perceived by the media and the general public. Critics aren't pulling any punches. They argue that if she truly had nothing to hide, she'd confront the situation boldly and transparently. Instead, they claim Meghan chose to vanish when things got tough. To many observers, her silence speaks louder than any statement, and it's being interpreted not as self-preservation, but as avoidance. For someone so image-conscious, this vanishing act has become yet another headline, and not the kind she can easily control.
He used Diana's favourite perfume, so when they met for the first time, gosh, he couldn't believe it. He thought he'd come from heaven. And I think that all this phoniness is going to drop from her bit by bit because people are so fed up.
Meghan's continued silence hasn't earned her any compassion. Instead, it's being widely interpreted as an admission of guilt rather than a gesture of dignity. And now, the whispers surrounding her private life are becoming even more bizarre. According to a former staff member, Meghan allegedly has a hidden area within her Montecito mansion jokingly referred to as the Rage Room. It's reportedly a soundproof space designed specifically for emotional outbursts where she can scream, cry, and even hurl objects without anyone outside the walls hearing a thing, sources claim. The room has been getting plenty of use lately. Just this week, insiders say Meghan flew into a frenzy after discovering she was trending under hashtags like #TrevorTellsAll and #MeghanExposed. In a fit of uncontrollable anger, she allegedly shattered 2 decorative vases and knocked over a designer lamp. Whether the infamous Rage Room actually exists or not, one fact is becoming impossible to ignore. Meghan appears to be spiraling while she melts down in private. The rest of the world is witnessing the collapse in real time. Behind closed doors, she may be unraveling, but outside, the spotlight has never been brighter. And every move she makes or doesn't make is only adding fuel to the fire.
Many warnings can you receive? I mean, we obviously know via Tom Bower that Meghan Markle returned her engagement ring to Trevor Engelson via the post. But the fact that you're actually so blatant in terms of the fact that you want this famous royal, and specifically you want Prince Harry, because you know my reporting on Meghan Markle's early life in London, Angela, made it very clear that she was looking for a celebrity.
Prince Harry may be staying mostly silent in public, but those close to him say his private reaction is speaking volumes. Behind closed doors, he's reportedly been left rattled by the intense backlash and feels a deep sense of humiliation over the revelations made by Trevor. According to sources familiar with the situation, Harry has been gradually pulling away from Meghan, in recent weeks retreating to secluded parts of their sprawling Montecito estate to escape the growing emotional strain and tension. Inside the home, he's exhausted from constantly having to defend her, one insider shared. Just when it seems like the chaos has finally died down, something else erupts, and this time, it's her past that's come roaring back, something completely beyond his ability to manage or spin. The emotional toll is reportedly taking a visible toll on Harry, whom no longer has the energy to battle every firestorm, especially when they originate from long before he entered Meghan's life. Adding to the growing strain, new reports suggest that Harry has now privately urged Meghan to stop blaming Buckingham Palace for every misstep. He's allegedly warned her that pointing fingers at the royals isn't helping their public image and may actually be making things worse. With their once carefully curated narrative unraveling, Harry appears to be reaching a breaking point of his own.
He studied him. Now, if you do study him carefully, you can see he's very vulnerable, and you can see that he's yearning to get married. He told me that he really wanted children, but the time hasn't come yet, but he really wants to be a father because he loves being with children.
It's becoming increasingly clear that Prince Harry's patience is running dangerously low, and so, it seems, is the emotional connection between him and Meghan. Since leaving the royal fold, Meghan has carefully rebranded herself as a modern icon and outspoken advocate for women's empowerment, mental wellness, and living one's truth with vulnerability. But with Trevor's bombshell revelations, that entire persona has been turned upside down. His depiction of Meghan paints a drastically different picture, one of someone emotionally detached, meticulously strategic, and fixated on achieving fame at any cost. It's a jarring contrast to the carefully constructed victim narrative Meghan has promoted for years. And the public response has been swift and unforgiving. Social media platforms have lit up with commentary, as thousands of users now claim the warning signs were always there, only now they're choosing to acknowledge them. What was once seen as misunderstood strength is now being questioned as manipulation. For many, the mask has slipped, and the fallout isn't just personal, it's brand destroying. This moment has become a turning point, not just in public perception, but in Meghan's credibility as a public figure. And with Harry reportedly growing more distant, the personal consequences may be just as severe as the professional ones.
They had a meeting. They were off there to look at the stars. And, all that was very carefully done. And it proves that we're not wrong to not believe almost everything she says.
Even Meghan's most devoted followers are beginning to question how much of her public persona is genuine and how much was masterfully engineered. Her well-polished podcasts, highly produced interviews, and cinematic documentaries are now being revisited through a far more skeptical lens. The glow of authenticity she once projected is fading fast, and her credibility is unraveling at a pace that even her PR team can't contain. Meghan believes the worst is behind her. She may be in for a rude awakening. Sources close to the situation suggest that Trevor isn't done speaking. Insiders from his camp claim he initially chose to withhold the most painful and damaging parts of their marriage out of respect, but that restraint may no longer apply. Talks of a potential memoir or a second, more revealing interview are reportedly on the table, this time with full intent to tell his side in detail. He kept quiet while she rewrote their shared history. One of Trevor's close friends revealed, but now he's ready to speak, and he's not coming empty-handed. He has proof. That single statement has reportedly sent Meghan's legal team into a frenzy, scrambling to assess the potential fallout. With the threat of hard evidence looming, the narrative Meghan once controlled so tightly may be slipping permanently out of her hands.
Before Meghan Markle ever went public with her vision boards. But do you remember recently, Angela, Meghan Markle actually posted a vision board on Instagram? So This is absolutely the type of thing she uses.
Yes, she likes that, doesn't she? And you went through all the details of it.
Meghan's legal team is reportedly in overdrive, working around the clock to block any future media appearances or publishing deals involving Trevor. But the harsh reality is, without a binding non-disclosure agreement from their divorce, there's little, if anything, they can do to legally silence him. And while her lawyers attempt to build walls, the real blow is coming from the outside. The shift in public sentiment has been nothing short of dramatic. Meghan was once celebrated as a trailblazing force, a fearless, modern woman daring the challenge, royal tradition, and shake up centuries of outdated protocol. But that admiration has cooled significantly. The narrative is shifting, and skepticism has begun to replace the once sympathetic headlines. Social media platforms are ablaze with viral hashtags like #Trevor told the truth and #how much Meghan manipulated me. Thousands of users are now applauding Trevor's calm and restrained demeanor, with many pointing out that his quiet composure reveals more authenticity than any multi-million-dollar Netflix special. As one viral tweet summed it up perfectly, he didn't need a platform, he had the truth. In the court of public opinion, that quiet honesty is resonating far louder than any polished production ever could.
Up there, it was going to happen. And so that's why she would do all that. But isn't it awful? It's just too awful for words. And I think that there we are. And what she would do is actually to keep Harry jumping about something like that.
Trevor was married to Meghan for years, and throughout that entire time, he maintained complete silence. That restraint wasn't just rare in today's media landscape. It was a mark of true class. But now that he's finally chosen to speak, what he's sharing isn't cheap tabloid fodder or petty revenge. It's raw, first-hand truth. This moment isn't just another fleeting celebrity controversy. It's the slow unraveling of a meticulously crafted public image. Meghan's post-royal identity has been built on a tightly controlled narrative. She's framed herself as the misunderstood heroine, the outsider who dared to challenge the institution and suffered for it. But Trevor's story breaks through that polished version because it doesn't come from royal sources, anonymous, insiders, or media spin. It comes from someone who knew her before any of it, before the camera crews, before the Duchess title, before the global spotlight dot, and that's exactly why it strikes such a nerve. Her current silence doesn't feel like calm confidence. It feels like fear. What once might have been perceived as strategic restraint now reeks of panic. Even her legal maneuvers no longer convey strength. They're starting to look like acts of desperation. And her carefully managed image, it's fraying fast. The illusion is cracking. And for the first time, the world isn't just listening to Meghan. It's listening to someone who was there before the fame and who has nothing left to lose.
If you've got someone who is changing their mood all the time, changing what they're putting up on the board, so you might be there one day, you might not be the next, it's very disturbing. And he's a very vulnerable person, and she's taken 100% of that.
Meghan Markle may have skyrocketed to international stardom through a combination of charisma, ambition, and perfectly timed opportunities. But Trevor's revelations hint at a far more unsettling truth. What he's exposing isn't just a glimpse. Behind the curtain, it's a troubling pattern of manipulation, emotional detachment, and relentless self-reinvention. And with more voices reportedly preparing to speak and the public's patience wearing thin, the Duchess of Sussex may soon find that the truth she spent years bearing is the very force that brings it all crashing down. If you followed Meghan's journey and always felt that something didn't quite sit right, you're not imagining it. Trevor Engelson's account is not a tabloid headline. It's the opening chapter of a much larger reckoning. For years, the world was fed a neatly packaged narrative. The empowered Duchess, the silent survivor, the woman misunderstood by an outdated institution. But now, we're hearing from someone who was there long before the royal titles, long before the cameras, and long before the chaos was curated. So ask yourself, how many more truths are hidden beneath the surface? How many individuals have been pushed aside, silenced, or forgotten to maintain the facade? Trevor has finally broken his silence, and his words carry weight because they come from lived experience, not a script. And here's the real question. Who's next? Because this isn't just palace intrigue or celebrity drama. This is a long-awaited unmasking, a moment of truth. And for the first time, that truth has a voice, and it doesn't belong to Meghan. Subscribe now for the full story exclusive. Breakdowns, unreleased statements, and the unraveling fallout that's just beginning. Because this isn't spin, it's a reckoning.